Good morning. Again from exercise at the balcony, trying to get fresh air. Coach Owidi here. Have you ever wondered why you find you have this particular weakness you're trying to overcome, but you're never overcoming? It drains you to change it as much as you try. Or this particular sinful tendency in the life of your partner, that you've really been trying and praying for them to change, but they are never changing. I think one of the things I'm discovering is we must stop fighting our weaknesses. There are some weaknesses that might never change, but still God will accept us to go to heaven, Instead of keeping busy fighting your weaknesses, keep busy seeking God. God will sort you out. But instead of keeping busy fighting your weaknesses, keep busy seeking God, and God will give you a solution. I think that is the best gift that we can ever give ourselves. Look at the life of men in the Bible. The book of Philippians 3 verses 13, Paul says, "One thing I do, as I strive to make every effort to be or to attain that for which Christ has apportioned for me, the one thing I do is forgetting the past and striving towards the future." Have you ever wondered why? Now look at Paul's past. Paul literally persecuted the church, killed Christians, and this, if you would allow the devil to make him feel guilty over that, man, that would be a big guilt. But what happened? Now that he was so sober and he remembered exactly what the grace of God. In fact, Paul speaks about the grace a lot much more, for you understand what grace of God really means. Look at the men in the Bible. Jacob, him and his brother Esau. Quickly, the brother Esau was the firstborn, Jacob was the secondborn, but he fought to have that firstborn right. What happens? The brother gives an opportunity to sell his birthright. He takes it quickly away from him. A time comes when his father is about to bless his brother, and the brother has been told to go and hunt for an animal to come back to cook. He plans, they scheme something with his mother, and he goes over and takes the birthright, and the brother was so bitter, just said, "Wait until my father goes. I will kill him." And quickly the mother, discovers and tells him, and what happened? He takes off, and he kept on lying. But as he's lying, look at his life. Angels come from heaven and shows him exactly what will happen to him. That when you go, you will one day come back here. And listen, that rock that he used as a pillow to put his head, one day he came back to that. And look at what happens to him. He goes over to his father-in-law, and his father-in-law, Rachel and Leah. Again, the lies continues there. And look at his life. This man ends up working for 14 good years. And he feels like now it's time for me to go home. He comes to send his resignation to his father-in-law. And Laban says, No. Ever since you've worked for me, your blessing has been upon my family. I've seen my flocks increase, my wealth increase. Just tell me what exactly you need that I need to pay you. And he tells him, listen, now on, any striped animal that I will have, sheep that I will have in your flock, that will belong to me. And look at the way he ends up, doing all this trickery. You might think it's some psychology, science, and all that. I don't know how God works, but God comes in a vision and tells him exactly what to do. And you wonder, anyway, let me leave it there. Did God promote lies? Not really. But he ended up becoming very wealthy, then eventually leaves. The father-in-law comes to follow up with him. Look at his life. And as you look down, he comes and tells his father-in-law exactly some of the things that he did. The way I protected your animals. None of your animals were dead. When you came and you'd find any of your animals dead, I would pay for it. And the father-in-law ends up letting him go. Then now he has to face his fears. His brother Esau now comes, and his brother literally, he fears that the brother is going to kill him. But what happened? God again comes to him. And when God comes to him at a moment when he's separated, just alone with God, he fights God. Had he won? Yes. It seemed like he had won. And then God shows him the full strength, the might of God, just touches the hip of his thigh, and there you go, no more. He starts to limp. God shows him, now I want you to learn a lesson. You shall not depend on yourself, but you'll depend on me. Look at his life. By the time now he meets his brother, he already knows he has guardian angels. But though he has God and guardian angels, but he still had a weakness. He still feared, and his fear came up following him. He ends up separating his family, his own entire group, into two groups, so that when a brother Esau comes, what will happen? He might kill the first one, he will remain with the rest. What happened? Even though he was with God, but he had a weakness he had not overcome. And when his brother Esau comes, welcomed him so graciously, and he wants to pay him, but his brother like, no. Of course he insisted and gave him. But I want you and I to look back. It is significantly very important to understand that the grace of God must be abundant. Self-reliance on our strength, how good we are, how strong we are, becomes one of the sources of burnout, becomes one of the sources of our downfall, because it now elevates our pride where we think we are able. Our weakness, Paul says, 3 times he pleads with the Lord, listen, this thorn in my flesh, and God says what? No. You need that thorn in your flesh. What did God reply by Paul? He tells Paul, for when you're weak, then you're strong, for my grace works well in weakness. So my advice for you and I, there are certain weaknesses in your partner, certain weaknesses in your life. Moses had them. Moses was a murderer, but God still used him. Look at all those lives. Truly, you got to go back and realize certain weaknesses are there to be able to help you to humble yourself and run back to God. So stop fighting your weaknesses, because what will happen if we do not accept our weaknesses and our humanity? What will happen? The devil will take advantage of that and use that, making us feel so useless, making us feel so helpless. And at the end of it all, you find that it is the weakness that God would have used that to his glory that takes you away from him. Finally, if you consider the cross of Jesus Christ a weakness, yes, indeed, it was weakness in the eyes of men. It was folly in the eyes of men. But God ended up glorifying his name through that. Rejoice in your weaknesses. But am I saying that now you stop working on them? Sin? Not really. Thank you. I hope this encourages you. Thank you. God bless you. At coachowidi.org. God bless you. Thank you.